We're here at the medium security prison, otherwise known as the workhouse.
City workhouse.
Now the reason we're here is because Black Jesus here, Minister Don Wayne, is on parole. For some, what do you're on probation. What are you on probation for?
Beating up a broad.
Beating up a woman?
Yeah.
And
she tried to sell me a ring that I already own. And guess what? She hit me in the process. And she had a big vicious dog and a lion cop to verify her story.
Anyway, Black Jesus, believe it or not, I know this might be unbelievable, he broke his probation. So he's actually wanted by the police to be right across the street here of the 33 days at the workhouse. How many people are in this workhouse? About 800?
Approximately 1,200, and that's overpopulated, by the way.
But don't you think it's weird that you're wanted by the police and they want to put you in the workhouse?
I make a dummy out of white folks. That's all that is, brother.
Sitting on the outskirts of St. Louis, Missouri, this medium security prison would earn a reputation for its horrible mistreatment of inmates, resulting in a lawsuit to get it shut down.
A new push tonight to close the St. Louis jail. Activists call the city workhouse, quote, a hellish jail. Demonstrators announced the newly formed Close the Workhouse campaign today. They want to shutter the jail and move inmates to the city's Justice Center.
We've heard about it over the course of my lifetime. There are so many issues with it, whether it's the conditions of rats and roaches and mold and flooding. The kind of folks who are held there are 98% pre-trial, meaning they have not been convicted of any crime.
Finally, in 2021, that happened. But for several years after, the prison would sit abandoned while the city decided what to do with the property. In at least one instance, a group of teens exploring the vacant building would get trapped inside. But as you will see during our exploration, during a winter freeze, the pipes would burst and send freezing water throughout the entire complex, making this one of the most interesting explorations we have ever had. If you know Ruin Road, you know we value our privacy. In our personal life, it's not always easy to maintain. Whether we know it or not, sites will mine our data like full name, email, health records, and more, which they will sell to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to snoop. That's why we started using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our personal information and automatically submits opt-out requests on our behalf. This not only reduces the amount of spam you'll get, but protects against hackers who can use this information to gain access to our social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also provides a ton of other features bundled into one easy-to-use app at an affordable price. You get antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without needing to bother with different apps. We all have one or more of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know how often that happens. Like 24-hour security, motion sensors, and guard dogs, Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my info safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. Relaxing. Ruin Road values our privacy, and we also value yours. Go to aura.com/ruinroad to start a free 2-week trial, also linked below in the description. I think that's original, or somebody wrote that after. Faith Church. I wonder why somebody wrote that down. And they scribbled out a bunch of stuff too. And you can also see they had a bunch of newspaper clippings everywhere. They used glue. Little chess, and they had a flat screen TV up there too. And there's like a computer monitor there. I wonder if that was that they could use, or wrong shoes to wear. I wonder, was this a guards thing? Commissionary order inquiry. I mean, that's all unplugged, obviously. Oh my God, nope, the computer's on. It's got a dial tone. Should we prank call someone?
It'll be like an inmate from I'll call my mom. She'll freak out.
Here's the private shower stalls. Look at it just flowing. I wonder if there's something busted in here. Because this entire place is just... Opening in 1966 as the medium security institution, this prison would quickly be renamed to the Workhouse due to a circa 1843 city ordinance forcing inmates to hard labor if they could not pay their fines. For decades, the horrible conditions inside were noted, but it was not until 1955 when inmates rioted. As a result, plans to build a new workhouse began in 1963. The much-delayed project would finally open in 1966, with the warden saying this was a palace in comparison to the old workhouse. Work training programs for things such as carpentry, cement work, and repairs to shoes, furniture, and mattresses were held for prisoners, whose sentences ranged from a few days to a year maximum. The original cell block was split into 12 dormitory buildings, while a 26-inmate standard jail section was for higher security prisoners, and another private cell section for trustees. 1 year after opening, 350 men were held in the prison, which had a capacity of 514. This same year, an adult education program was started. But underneath the press release, trouble was still looming. Less than 4 years after opening, a riot occurred where 465 inmates demanded better food and a new warden. Afterwards, the city's aldermen would tour the facility and learn that many were unhappy with how the place was run, citing that beatings regularly occurred in the hallways when prisoners would rob each other of the $10 a week they earned. They would also state that even if they were paroled, they might be left imprisoned for months afterwards, while others would sit for months before they even went to trial. A temporary new warden was installed, but issues still occurred, with multiple inmates escaping. It's so cold. In 1972, a grand jury would state that an appalling amount of people were imprisoned here simply because they could not afford bail. At the same time, they would recognize the workhouse for its community rehabilitation programs. By 1976, the prison was overcrowded by over 200 prisoners, and drug trafficking was confirmed to be taking place inside the walls, leading to the new warden going to trial himself. Multiple groups of inmates would escape over the following year, leading to guards being suspended and fired. A second round of guards were fired in 1978 after an investigation into abuse complaints. The guards in return would complain about understaffing and inadequate protection equipment, leading to 5 walking out after a meeting with the director of corrections hitting one of the guards. Riot gear would be purchased for the guards following an incident soon after when beds were set on fire in response to a surprise search. Here you go, COVID Santa. Kind of cleared out apart from a little rug. Are those like religious things? Oh, okay.
For Mecca, I think you put them on the ground and then you face Mecca.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
There is the laundry room. And then across the hall is the medical wing. Maybe a little shower. Bathroom. Oh, somebody like drew by hand the what is it? It's the medical code thing. Here's just another, like, meeting room. A suicide briefing. Oh, wow, here's all their records. What does that say? Hal Met. Oh, those are like the inmates' names, so probably all their medical records are still left in here. Somebody made their own like crossword puzzle, I think.
That's cool.
Because they finished this one for hip-hop artists. In 1982, one inmate would be caught using the newspaper wanted section to raise money for his $17,000 bail, asking for money to be sent directly to him at the workhouse. In 1985, Paul Leisure, a notorious mob boss, would be transferred to the infirmary here. Wounded in a bombing, he had been the sole prisoner at the former city hospital to prevent further attempts on his life when he underwent trial for racketeering and murder charges.
This is for an x-ray that might fall down. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll come on camera, but you can see the water is just blasting in there. They just left one day. Like they could literally, apart from the flood, it looks like they'll be here tomorrow. They got this soundproofed. Yeah, good call. That's a bathroom. But this one's just like soundproofed, and you can see there's something back there, but there's just a computer in here with speakers. What does that say on it? Prisoner. That is a big boy. Yeah, so here's where they'd get like admitted and everything. Oh wow. Look at back in there. Wow, yep. Every single size. So this was for the officers. Yeah. They needed all these coats. Here's a ton of photos of like children and women. Like I think these were maybe they either took them when they came in or it was just a collection. Yeah, these were so if you acted out of line, they had this and they'd spray you with it. A new investigation in 1988 would find more troubling information around the jail. Drug tests would find 31 of the 115 guards test positive for narcotics. A still was found in one of the male dorms that was making 10 gallons of beer per day. Overcrowding was discovered, along with weapons and drugs flowing in through the prison, while over $10,000 had been stolen from inmates' bank accounts. All of which resulted in the forced resignation of the superintendent and the chief of security being demoted. St. Louis would hire its first female warden to turn things around, which she did. But just 1 year after she left to help another troubled prison, inmates were rioting yet again, with 50 barricading themselves into their dorm and setting fire to the mattresses over poor food and recreational activities, until tear gas was shot in to subdue them. The prison was at capacity, and even after everyone on nonviolent parole violations were released, they still could not accept any more prisoners. 1 year later, a clerk here would be found to have cashed over $14,000 of checks sent to inmates for herself. Another guard would be caught smuggling heroin inside in 1998. 1 year before this, the new pod annex was completed, which would soon be used to hold the city jail's population while a new facility is built for them. Because shocker, the old one was so run down, it was literally falling apart. Oh, a phone card. You could like buy her. And then here's, you could put your personal effects because you couldn't take those in. In 2000, a man escaped from here, beat another man to steal his car keys, and finally ripped a woman out of her vehicle to steal that one. He would be recaptured and given 20 years for these crimes. 2 years after that, a murder suspect escaped by switching IDs with another prisoner, while another group of 5 would flee that same month by breaking through a wall. Their escape was not even known until an off-duty worker recognized the men on the street. Every 3 months, a grand jury would tour the facility, and reports were positive apart from mentions of overcrowding. By this time, the gymnasium had been converted into an extra 100-bed dorm. However, those who visited disputed the administration's claims of improvements. Those people who visited reported bad smells, medical mistreatment, and sexual assaults. 3 more guards would be caught bringing in drugs in 2004, and in 2007, the institution would see a chickenpox outbreak. In 2008, an inquiry was launched when a mentally challenged 18-year-old was found to have hung himself in the cell despite being placed on suicide watch. In 2011, one inmate managed to escape by walking through an open gate and then scaling the exterior fences. Another created nunchucks out of metal furniture legs and held guards at bay while he broke a window and jumped from the 2nd floor. This would occur just hours after the corrections commissioner had been suspended. At least 2 other deaths would occur in the prison before 7 inmates filed a lawsuit against guards and city leaders for the terrible conditions here, alleging tales of being confined to isolation units all day except a shower, gladiator matches held between inmates, medical care denied for months, and other mistreatments. Yet again, a new commissioner was brought in to reform the jail, but that same year, 2 guards would be caught smuggling drugs and having sex with inmates.
Oh my God. This has been like going on for a really long time, flooding. And just the green algae. Holy shit. The barber shop, but also it just has a drum set and fucking guitars?
Yeah, here's a guitar.
Wow. I wish there was a barber chair, but they just used probably just that. They sat them in. Big old kitchen. So they left all these on so the pipes wouldn't burst, even though, as you can see, it's pretty damn flooded in here.
Finally, in 2017, protests would reach a peak after inmates were recorded pleading from the windows when temperatures reached over 120 degrees inside.
Today, the criminal justice-focused legal group, the Arch City Defenders, is suing over a pattern of what they call a range of inhumane conditions. Some city and state leaders have said the place needs to be shut down. Protesters echoed that idea as they gathered outside, in some cases pushing through the fence to get their message across at times over the summer.
Ho, 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 no workhouse has got to go. Dozens gathered Wednesday outside the St. Louis Medium Security Institution, also known as the Workhouse, chanting, "Close the workhouse."
Police and riot gear used pepper spray to clear dozens outside the St. Louis Medium Security Institution yesterday. Nearly 200 people gathered outside the jail to protest poor living conditions, including mold, rodent infestation, and heat. The 1960s facility has no AC, and prisoners were seen crying for help during this week's heat wave.
It would still take a further 2 years and a class action lawsuit for the city to install temporary air conditioning in the building, while $8 million was spent to upgrade the downtown jail facility to transfer prisoners out of the workhouse.
The City of St. Louis's controversial medium security institution, commonly called the Workhouse, closed today, at least for now. City Public Safety Director Dan Isom told reporters the remaining detainees were moved to the City Justice Center downtown. Isom says the detainees will stay at the Justice Center unless it becomes overcrowded.
First on Fox, 2 disturbances broke out at the City Justice Center downtown this week, forcing the city to transfer nearly a fifth of the 536 detainees back to the Medium Correctional Institution.
Now, back in April, we saw riots break out at the Justice Center where there was detainees who broke free from their cells that had broken locks, and they were breaking windows, throwing things out of the building, starting fires. And this was in protest of the conditions that were there at the Justice Center. And now 118 of those detainees are going to be transferred back here to the workhouse where it was closed down because of the inhumane conditions that Mayor Tashara Jones just said were truly unbearable, which is why she wanted this facility to be defunded.
We were very disappointed, and shocked, and frustrated by what we saw.
Harsh words following a closer look.
The utter filth, the trash, the bugs.
Mayor Tashara Jones and Congresswoman Cori Bush led a group of elected leaders on a tour of the two city jails. First stop, the Criminal Justice Center downtown. Detainees complained of poor living conditions and delayed trials. They rioted twice. Then the group toured the Medium Security Institution, the workhouse. Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner was in the group.
As the Circuit Attorney for the City of St. Louis, I'm very disturbed by the conditions.
For 3 years, we have told the city that behind these walls, injustice is a regular occurrence.
Congresswoman Bush said what she saw inside was disgusting.
We understand it's not a hotel, but that does not mean that you do not treat people with dignity, respect, with basic kindness, that their basic rights shouldn't be met because they're in one of these types of institutions.
Jones zeroed out the budget for the workhouse starting July 1st and put some of the money toward helping detainees re-enter society.
And we don't need 2 jails. We need to move people through the system. We need to find alternatives to jails for some of the offenses.
But that was not the end of issues at the workhouse. In the 3 years it sat abandoned, multiple articles came out. The prison sat wide open, while $2 million to remediate the water damage and asbestos removal was spent.
Wide open, we went inside.
So we are actually inside the old MSI building right now.
Remnants of the flood can be seen, but also work being done. Blueprints taped to the wall, repairs to the electrical, even a new boiler. A source telling News 4 the work may total in the millions. After asking for months, a spokesperson told News 4 Tuesday costs are estimated at about $2 million for water damage and asbestos remediation, saying they expect additional costs as well.
In 2024, 3 people exploring the property locked themselves into a cell.
It's been 3 weeks now since police say 3 men got into the old St. Louis Workhouse jail site and inadvertently locked themselves into a cell. It may seem funny, but police say it's no laughing matter. They got in through holes in the fencing. Holes we were told were being fixed.
It is ice water. Oh wow, look at that. So it was like a smaller wing, maybe observation or something, but the water is ice cold right now and it's all the way in my shoes. Oh, okay. Here was a different type of cell and all the padlocks on them. Yeah, it's leaking from, look at all the condensation up there. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, there you go. Let's find where that's coming from. Holy shit. Holy shit. What is going on? Okay, I can no longer feel my feet is how cold this water is. But this is so insane. Even the windowsill is full of water. All these records are just soaked So if this ever dries, this is going to be mold city in here. And for the record, it is not raining outside right now.
Numerous proposals for the property would come forward, from a community for the unhoused, a go-kart track, or a museum. Finally, in September 2024, Mayor Jones announced that demolition would begin before the end of the year, with a memorial and animal shelter taking its place while further plans were being developed.
The medium security institution, known as the Workhouse, is in Alderwoman Pam Boyd's ward, and she says she heard the news from First Alert 4 that the city will be demoing the property. Her colleague, Kara Spencer, also caught off guard.
It came out of nowhere as far as I could tell.
Wednesday, Mayor Tashara Jones announced the Workhouse is set for demolition by mid-December. The mayor closed the Workhouse in 2021 and now says our community deserves better than to see the facility continue to stand as it did. A memorial is planned for the site, and the mayor is also requesting proposals for what that would look like.
Question we should be talking about right now is the conditions in the Justice Center.
City Justice Center is now St. Louis City's sole jail. Both Spencer and Boyd mentioned the CJC has seen 12 deaths in the last 3 years and 4 inmates stabbed in July, along with complaints about lack of mobility inside the jail.
And then you wonder why they have the breakouts and they have the riots. It's because people have been closed in so long.
And the CJC keeps adding inmates, adding nearly 100 more in the last calendar year. According to a city spokesperson, the demo will cost at least $2.5 million. Comparatively, it costs the city $80K per year to maintain the building.